The BMW UFO, I am calling it done. I really can't add any more. I got to do one more thing. That's just actually spray a clear coat on it, which I'm going to do either today or tomorrow, and I'll let it sit for a couple days, because then I got to go take these finished kits to the hobby store, so the rightful owner can pick them up. It's actually a cool kit. I mean, for the design of it. But actual casting of the kit is, I'll even say it, a little bit horrid, as in the fan blades, because you can see the pitted in the resin, which I tried to fix it, but as best I can with even missing parts and decals. But anyway, I think it turned out pretty decent. I finished everything on the bottom here. I painted the real wheel well best I could. Really just couldn't really do too much. Finished the exhaust a little bit, just kept it very, very light, but anyway, did a lot of shading on it, so it should stand out, in the display case, at least give it a little bit of realism to it. But anyway, not a bad resin kit for the subject matter. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. But anyway, I've finished it, so I gotta go package that up so it will take the trip across town. The Demoliyion Sherman, I finished it too. I went ahead and did a little dry brushing on just a few little areas, and I think it turned out great. Got the decals on, and again, I just need to put a little bit of a sealer on it, and that's more of a dull coat, and I'll be ready to send that off too. That was a fun kit. My only really complaint with this kit was the seam on the hull itself. It should have been one solid turret, my personal opinion. But anyway, since I'm becoming the king of 72nd scale stuff here, there's some things I should be an expert on, and that's hull assembly. One thing about this kit, I had to cut out the turret ring on the hull, so it's going to be a little loose, but it is sturdy on there. It won't fall off, but I had to get it on there just to get it to fit. But anyway, Demoliyion Sherman is done. The V1, I actually like model collects, and one thing I did do on the Sherman and the V1 is I took some powders and I did some little weathering on there, just very minute, especially along the road wheels, tracks, and like where the vents are, stuff like that. Very little streaking. I didn't make them totally combat worn, but there is just a little bit of weathering on there just to give it a little realism. But last I left off on the V1, I went ahead and put the I call it splinter camo, which I did the red brown, and that's the way I do it. Very random. I just like the hard edge camo. I think it looks pretty darn slick. Did the same thing with the Sherman powders. You can see where I did the exhaust. I always do the exhaust on German tanks a little more darker than normal. Of course, everyone knows I added the magnets on there, but I think it turned out pretty darn slick. See the tracks, got them weathered, got the road wheels a little bit weathered. The only thing I really didn't do is I didn't put a pin wash on everything. It's kind of, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Just depends on the subject and or what the actual weathering for me calls out for. But anyway, I think that turned out great. I'm a big fan of model collect tanks. They really go together extremely well. My only complaint with the model collects is the track. I think they need to be at least 2 to 3 more lengths longer, and I think they would be just perfect. But anyway, other than that, pretty darn slick. So anyway, the V1 is done, and I'm going to get these off the workbench after I spray a clear coat on them, and you all won't see them anymore. So we can start something else. And starting something else, we're going to start the rat. And I already started the kit, and I wanted to get it over with because the first time I built it, I had one problem with the track, and that was my mistake. Is I actually glued one of the tracks upside down on the first one I did. But the second time I built one, I remedied that problem. My only problem with the track here is it was actually too long. It actually didn't fit. It's about two and a half lengths longer than it should be, and so I whacked that off and I got them on. And that's the boring part of this kit, is just putting all the little road wheels on. But I did get both tracks done, so we are good to go on that. I got to, and then I can start on the hull itself. But anyway, I wanted to get that accomplished, get that out of the way, because the Rat here from Tacom, I think, is actually one of their best kits for the simplicity of building, and just everything fits. It's just one of those. But anyway, we'll more on that later. We'll continue on them. I'm probably going to get the turret built probably either today or tomorrow, and then I'll probably get the track on the hull. But anyway, we'll work on that. And up next, if you see the ships here, we are going to paint the Measure 52 scheme on the French battleship. And I probably can't say it right. The Richelieu, I think that's it. That's 700. That's 1/350th. I am not putting together neither ship. I'm going to just paint the Measure 52, which is not this. It's actually just a tad bit different. And I got the paints for it, so we're going to paint this on the weekend. I'm going to try to get it laid out here so I can at least try to start masking the Measure 52, and I'll show everyone that because I got to go print off the pictures, but I want to show everyone. We are going to start some French battleship painting. But anyway, ships, I love ships, but I can't really build ships because I really can't ship it complete. I could probably, if I did build ships, I'd have to build it, in sections where, they'd have to assemble it. But I don't actually like to build ships because they actually get tore up in shipping. It's just one of them things that I've always had a problem. But if I paint the, do like the measure on there, paint that, I don't think it should be a problem. But anyway, that's up next on the agenda. So we'll start this probably this upcoming weekend. That's what I got going on today. Finishing the V1 tank. We finished the Demoliyion Sherman. Finished the BMW UFO. We are starting the Rat, and then we're going to start painting the French battleship Richelieu Measure 52. So that's what I got going on today. So stay tuned for the next exciting episode.